kind of conflicts are healthy? Well, let's remember 3 things in general about conflict. Number 1, conflict usually signals a need for change. Now, we usually think the other person is the one who should be changing, and maybe we're right, but maybe it's us mostly, and maybe it's us as well. So it's a good thing that when conflict arises, because it means something isn't working, and if we can come to some kind of change, things will be better. So that's the good news about conflict. Number 2, most conflicts are not really about the presenting issue. So I may get extremely irritated that my husband didn't call me and tell me something in advance or take out the trash, but those may be symptoms of a much deeper longing, hurt, or fear in me that he's not the person I ever wanted to marry, or he's not going to take care of me in general. So sometimes we blow up the little things like the trash or the phone call, and we don't take the time or have the wisdom to really stop and think about what's the deeper issue going on here. So if we don't do that, we're going to be recycling our conflict. And number 3, conflict usually signals that a part of us has been triggered. I love understanding the human person as, like God, we are one but many. We have lots of different parts of us. We have parts that have experienced trauma as kids that maybe still be unhealed, and we have little manager parts running around telling us what we should do and not do to avoid trauma, stay safe, be happy. So again, unless we have some self-awareness of really what's going on, what really got triggered, we might not ever be able to address the real root of conflict. So people have written books and done week-long, retreats and workshops on this topic. So we're going to cover some general things in this little video. So what are some hallmarks of healthy conflict? Well, let me give you an example. My husband and I live in a cute little house, but it's older, and it had these horrible plastic shutters on the windows. And for a long time, I really wanted to get those beautiful white plantation shutters. So when I first approached him, all he heard was big ticket dollars, and he was worried about money. So he said no, and he shut me down. The old me would have pushed, argued, and if that didn't work, maybe I would like charm or, seduce, or all the little tricks and all the little management styles we have to get that person to change or the circumstance to change so that we'll be happy or feel safe. But I've learned a lot in my old age, and so I realized, how do I approach my husband? How do I say it to him in a way that he will be respected and that he will hear? And what is it exactly that I want and I'm willing to do or not do? So this is a hallmark of healthy conflict, is it's well thought out. Don't just barge in the room or start a conversation. Have some self-mastery and stop and do some thinking. What's going on with me? What is it I want? And how can I approach the other person in the best way possible? Number 2, a hallmark of healthy conflict is it makes time for discussion. On the fly, and you all know this, when you probably bring something up and have some conflict, it's because you're rushed and trying to do 10 million other things at once. If there's something that needs to be changed or addressed, make some special time for that. Even if it's 5 minutes, put everything down. Go to the other person and say, can we talk on Saturday morning after breakfast or tonight after dinner? But make time. Healthy conflict is respected in a certain sense. With healthy conflict, another hallmark is that we are willing to listen to the other person as much as just express our needs and desires. And it's not listening to gather information or intel so that we can craft a really great argument and get our way. We need to listen so that we can understand the other person. I learned this the hard way. If my husband or anybody that I'm in conflict with will feel that I care about them and I'm willing to listen to them and understand them instead of argue and push and control them, they generally relax, calm down, and then become more open to me. Hello, it's a wonderful tool to use. So be willing to listen, not to win, but to understand. Healthy conflict also asks and gives time. Asks for and gives time. A lot of times when we are triggered emotionally and our managerial parts are going into fight or flight mode, we need to be aware of that and stop and say, hey, I realize I can't really talk about this right now. Can you give me half an hour? Or let me walk around the block. So you ask for time, and if you're in that situation and the other person asks, you give it to them. Don't be so anxious that you have to fix it now, solve it now, and get to the root of everything now. That hurried attitude really is a disorder and another root of conflict. So don't be afraid to ask for and give time, but not indefinitely. Tell the other person when you're going to come back or when you would like to come back. I learned this the hard way. The next one, healthy conflict never happens at night or very rarely. Everybody's tired at the end of the day. Everybody's exhausted. We take on burdens from all other parts of our life, and it's really hard to lay those burdens down and be strong and relaxed and open and present to another person in an area that's sensitive or that may trigger us. So I told my husband when we first got married, honey, I learned the hard way. We are never going to argue at night. And every once in a while in the evening when I'm exhausted, and I know he is too, he'll bring something up, and I've learned to be very attentive and to go, oh, good topic. Can't talk about it tonight. What? You can't talk about something just because it's nighttime? You know, you might get that. It's like, yes, that's true. I can't. That's one of my self-care things to make sure that we protect our relationship. So if you can't, if at night or some other difficult time happens, then tell the other person, no, we can't talk, but let's do it another time, and tell them when that time is. Don't leave somebody hanging. Another thing about healthy conflict is it's open to repair. Do you think I ever had horrible conflict? Yes. Did I ever said and did the wrong thing? 1,000,000 times. But that doesn't have to be the end of the story. As long as you are mature enough and take enough breath and create space that you can come back to the person and say, I was wrong. Let's try again. How can we do better? You make some attempt at repairing any hurt or any harm that happened. Gosh, there's so much more that we could talk about conflict, but I hope some of these have reminded you maybe what you already know, or maybe opened your eyes to some new things. There's lots more information about relationships, dating, and courtship and marriage on our website, CatholicMatch.com. Please go there and find out more information. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, and follow us on Instagram at CatholicMatch. And if you're having conflict in your relationships, please get some professional help. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you safe and attractive and awesome.